right, folks, Vitek here from Wani. With us today, we have the gruesome monster, Chris Barnes of 6 Feet Under. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
Torment, the new 6 Feet Under record will be out next month. It looks like you guys hardly take some time off since the last few years have been completely busy. You guys have been churning out killer records every year. Have you reached the pinnacle of creativity with Torment?
I don't think I'll ever reach the pinnacle of creativity. There's always something more that's enticing my imagination and creativity and all that. So I look forward to always to the next project. So.
All right, and you released a video today, a couple of hours ago, with Jeff playing both the bass and the guitar, and obviously the first one which came out, a couple of weeks ago. So, how have the fans responded so far? Because you've clearly said that this is the most in-your-face record fans will get to hear from, 6 Feet Under.
Oh, well, it seems like everyone's digging it so far, man. 2 songs are released and a video and a playthrough video with Jeff today. Yeah, it's been cool, man. People have been, I guess, pleasantly surprised at what we've put together for this one, and it's a killer album. So I'm hoping that that vibe will continue.
Absolutely, because it's a straight up no bullshit record. I've been listening to it for a while, and it's clearly gives me an idea that not only you always try to make sure that one 6 Feet Under album does not sound like the previous one. So at this point of your career, when you look at an album like Torment, which is a complete death metal assault, how important is it for you to not kind of go back to the past and rehash?
Well, I like having elements of stuff that I do and I have done, and I just like the idea of doing those things just a little differently, because it's no fun listening to the same thing over and over. There's too many other bands that like to do that, and I like to kind of go around and see what'll kind of stick to the wall, man, and really kind of get that killer feeling again with music, man. I like what I'm doing, and I've always enjoyed creating music, so being inspired is always important. I'm just lucky to have, great musicians in the band, and I've always had great musicians I've worked with, and that's, I think it's just it's cool to build upon what you've done, and I don't mind looking back at things. I'm very proud of all the albums and all the music that I've been lucky to be involved with. So I think that this album right now for me though is very exciting, because it has such a real good flow to it, and I think our fans kind of been waiting on something that every song is got it's really powerful. So this is that album. So I'm glad that we've gotten a good response so far. That's important.
Awesome, it's good to hear. And Jeff and Marco are part of the songwriting this time, and you've given a lot of freedom to these lads to kind of write a very bone crushing record. Obviously, you being part of it. So at this point of time, you're very well known as working with session players in the past as well. So what made you take this step to have Jeff and Marco be part of it completely, as compared to hiring session players for writing a 6 Feet Under record?
Well, I didn't really do anything different on that side of things on this one, but Jeff wrote this whole album music-wise, so that was really cool. He came up with some great songs, and Marco did a great job, lending his drumming talents, extensive talents to the album. I mean, really great ins and outs with what he did. So yeah, it made for an interesting album. It's kind of like what I always want to do.
That's good to hear. Let me just get into in a couple of tracks here. I clearly hear classics here in the form of separation of flesh from bone. I'm sure that chorus. I mean, I don't know whether should I call it a chorus, but the moment you scream the term, the separation of flesh from bone, I'm sure fans are going to go berserk and scream along. And this is one such example, along with, She's So Maniac. That's a lot of groove, slow, grinding riff, which fans are going to love. And then you mix up that brutality, that sludgy riff somewhere on the record. So, was this intentional? Obviously, you working very closely with Jeff to mix things up instead of just speeding all the time.
Well, I think Jeff had his own kind of vision about where he was going after maybe the first couple of songs, or maybe even before that, as he was writing. And it kind of appeared to me at a certain point too, like, okay, half of this album is very intricate, very fast, very intense, and then the other half of it, he is very rhythmic, but very powerful and really heavy. And within each of the songs too, there's all those elements mixed in, but there's almost a line, and I found that like that's his understanding as well as mine, him tapping into that. What I've always enjoyed about what we can do over the years is being very the duality of our music, is being able to take care of both sides of that coin, with the more rhythmic stuff and also the more intense technical stuff, like where I came from with Cannibal Corpse. So like that's always been very interesting to me, working within within and around those parameters, and it's just been a lot of fun. And Jeff had that distinct writing type of structure and outline. I think that he followed just because he has a great knowledge of what I've done and what makes me tick as a vocalist, and I think the rhythms that he saw me singing to over the years that were his were his favorites, that he wanted me to try to tap into those things again. So
Absolutely. And you have a sequel of classic response track, Fucked with a Knife. So was it something which was pre-planned, or something that came out naturally when you were writing lyrics for this song?
Yeah. Well, I just had a song title, and then I just was kind of feeling like, okay, where can I go? What will this be about? And the idea of a kind of a post storyline of the song "Fucked with a Knife," or an intertwining storyline, was something that was interesting to me.
That's good to hear that. And Marco, we already spoke about him. He mentioned that he recorded the entire album in one take, no triggers, nothing at all, just real acoustic stuff, organic, in one go. And you have worked with so many talented drummers in your career, and I know Marco being one of the most standout ones, having his great chops on the record. How's it having him, taking the drums to a completely different level, as compared to other legends you worked with in the past?
Yeah, man, he's done a great job. He did do all the songs. Each song he did in one take, from what I was told. Yeah, man, each song is recorded in one take, and very talented guy, like I said, man, and he was able to bring out some real cool ins and outs on this album, man, for sure.
At this point of time, Chris, I mean, when you look at how the songs Jeff have written, and obviously, like you said, that he understood the kind of stuff you like, and he just developed that and moved further. And he has written some of the sickest bass parts on this record, where it almost plays a very prominent role, and sometimes even does much more than what a guitar can do. So when you look at Jeff as a songwriter, while you heard these songs, was that a sort of feeling in you that why didn't I use him in the past? Like, because the quality of songs is much, much better.
Well, I can't say everything's, everything has its own vibe, and at certain points in time, things worked out a certain way. So I kind of just absorb what the universe is telling me at whatever point in time it is, and try to do my best with that. And we worked on stuff before, but it just didn't gel at certain points in time. So this album came together, I guess, we were all in alignment, and everything kind of just worked out. And when you kind of fight things against the grain, it's never a good thing, man, in any point in life.
True.
I mean, you just kind of have to flow with things and feel out, where you're supposed to be. And so at this point in time, I was supposed to be with Jeff working on this album. And
that's right. Stars aligned, like they say, isn't it?
I guess so.
Well, the mix on this record is incredible without actually being too loud. I mean, you worked with Mark in the past, and here you're using the services of Zeuss, who's pretty much known with bands like Sanctuary, Queensryche, and so on. Was that sort of a plan you had to kind of use him? Maybe you would have heard his mixes of the other bands he's done in the past?
I worked with Zeuss on Unborn. He mixed Unborn, and I loved the way that album turned out, production-wise, and my vocally and just the whole overall sound of that album when I was working with him. And I wanted to work with him on a bunch of other stuff. It just never came to be. And this time around, he was on the top of my list. So we just got reacquainted, and he was the perfect guy for it. I mean, Zeuss is awesome, man, because he's not the type of guy that thinks he's more important than the band that he's recording. So he doesn't get involved with any of that nonsense. He's more interested in trying to understand the songs themselves and the writer, performers, what they have accomplished and how they feel about the music and what they want it to sound like, what their vision is, and then he's able to work from that and bring out that magic that you're hoping for. And that's what I love about Zeuss. He's like he's of the same caliber, if not more in tune with the musician than even the best of the best that I've worked with. I think he's the best producer, engineer, mixer that I've ever worked with. So I like the relationship we've had on this one.
That's good to hear. And kind of like you said about your vocals, that any 6 Feet Under record, you always give your 100%, no matter what. There's a certain sound which Chris Barnes has, which cannot be changed. No, and it'll always be in the mind. The moment you start singing, one can easily identify it's Chris Barnes. So on this record, you have again proved your capability. So for you in general, whenever a new 6 Feet Under album is being written, what goals do you keep in mind vocally as compared to in the past what you do?
I don't. I think of it as my first album, and I just approach it from a fresh point of view, because I don't blanket a vocal style, a specific vocal style over music. That's not how I work. I listen to a song and I interpret it from some part of the universe, man. I don't know where, but I just try to blend what I'm hearing in my head with the music as I'm singing it. I don't know. It's just my approach is from the music itself at that point in time, and how I hear it and how I feel it sounds good in my head, and it's accommodating. I can't put a finger on it, but I don't come into it with any preconceived notion, and I don't think about how I sang in the past. The past is now, and now is the past.
Right.
But no, but yeah, I never. I mean, people can say what they want to say about my vocals. Oh, you can't sing like you used to. Well, I don't know. I know my vocals pretty well, and I know myself pretty well, and I know that there's things I did on this album that I know for a fact I would have never been able to accomplish in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that people like to believe that
Right.
aren't true. They're just their daydream opinions.
Definitely, man. That's really good to hear. So touring plans. I mean, you guys love to be on tour. Europe is your second home, and been a while since you traveled, toured states. So what is the plan for this record this year to take on road?
Oh, well, we're going to be doing a lot of touring. I'm hoping, as long as the fans want to see us. I mean, it's so difficult now. Touring the U.S. It's very oversaturated, and a lot of promoters don't want to take chances on certain bands, or just depends on how hot a band is at any certain time. So if an album sells really well the first week of sales, it's kind of hard not to put a band on tour, and for local promoters to say, oh yeah, we want this band, and yeah, a tour is going to happen. But we're in the talks about it right now. I'm speaking to my agent about a U.S. tour, and also some European dates along the year. So.
Good to hear that, man. Man, thanks a lot for sparing some time. So, if you had to sum up Torment in a sentence, what would you say?
In a sentence, that's a tough one, man. I think it's one of our greatest accomplishments.
Greatest accomplishment. Pretty much it is, Chris. Thank you so much. I love the record. I hope it sells as much as possible, even surpasses your expectations. And I'm sure when it's going to be out, fans are going to love it. It is probably, if I speak honestly, this is probably the best 6 feet I've heard in a long time. So I love it. So
okay, thanks a lot. Appreciate
I hope
that.
fans feel the same and buy it right there first day.
All right, great, man. Appreciate that. Thanks for the interview once again. Good talking to you, and
Same to you.
hope to see you over there.